welcome into Blue Jays Today, folks, where this evening we are going to be going over all of the latest rumblings, rumors, reports coming out of the final day of winter meetings. What's going on with the Toronto Blue Jays? What's going on with the Baltimore Orioles, who just made a big-time signing? What's going on with the New York Mets, who are in free-fall mode right now, according to Twitter and their fan base? Just overall temperature check as to where are we at, because I've noticed recently in the last 48 hours or so, I guess the fact that we haven't seen a Blue Jays transaction in, what is it now, close to a week, or a major Blue Jays transaction ever since Cody Ponce signed,
right?
People are getting antsy again. I'm still chilling. I still think we are living in a beautiful space where Ross Atkins and the management can do no wrong, because they've done great up until this point. Yeah. But there is now a growing community that's starting to worry, starting to panic that we're not going to get stuff done.
I know. We came out with a podcast today, and many of you enjoyed it. Shout out to you guys. But there's a few people in there, not calling out any names, of course, but that were like, what are you guys talking about? They haven't brought back Bo or Tucker. Like, this is a disaster. I'm like, what are you guys talking about?
Plenty of time, baby. Plenty of time.
Like, just in the past 48 hours did we see the first big bats leave the board other than Josh Naylor in Kyle Schwarber and Pete Alonso. There's still Bregman. There's still Bo. There's still Tucker. I even forgot about Eugenio Suarez.
Yeah. Bellinger's still out there.
Bellinger's still out there. There's so many guys still out there.
Munetaka Murakami. We haven't heard that guy's name in a long time.
Right. And then the other dude that we talked about the other day from Japan. So it's like there's so many guys out there. And to say that, like, they're not doing anything right now is actually ludicrous. When I believe we still have spent the most money, more than any other team in baseball right now.
Yeah, again, like, Toronto is still in a phenomenal spot, and I know that they didn't get Alonso, and I know they didn't get Schwarber, but be completely honest, like, were we ever expected to get Alonso or Schwarber?
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all.
I literally was not looking at either of those guys.
We weren't in the camp. And in fact, I don't have the tweet, but when I was pulling up all the tweets for the show, they brought up the Cubs and the Red Sox were the only other two teams that last checked in on Alonso before he signed with the Orioles. So not even the Mets, right? So the Blue Jays weren't there. The Blue Jays, as we know, have been directly involved with Kyle Tucker, Bichette, and to my knowledge, that's basically it on the position player side of it.
That feels to be like where they are spending majority of their time. Now, I will say to that small community that is slightly getting antsy right now, the one individual that you can point your finger at and go, hey, I thought we were going to get that guy, Edwin Diaz. He did end up leaving. He's off the board right now. Goes to the LA Dodgers.
Of course.
Of course he does. Felt like an LA Dodger. They have like 5 guys on their roster. I'd have to look through it all again, but they have a plethora of individuals in that bullpen that could immediately step in and be the closer for quite literally 29 other baseball teams.
Oh, yeah.
And they're adding in Edwin Diaz into that. It is quite ludicrous.
Yeah, like Diaz, Tanner Scott, who was a closer for a while, Viesa, who they were missing in the World Series. He was one of their better guys in that bullpen. And then Treinen, you know how good he's been. And yeah, like, who knows? They could even add another one. But yeah, point being, Diaz was like the only real guy that we were connected to. But good thing is there are more relief pitchers out there, especially closers, that are still available, right? And the Blue Jays have been linked to. And that leads us right to our first update of the evening, everybody. This is coming from Lance saying, I think Pete Fairbanks ends up on the Blue Jays or the Mets. New cutter, he broke out to breaking down his cutter. If you want to read it, go ahead and read it right here. But he's saying he ends up in the Blue Jays or the Mets. And obviously, the people who have been looking in on him have been the Blue Jays. The Mets might do it because, I mean, they got outpriced, and Diaz is off the board now. And it feels like getting Devin Williams to replace Diaz isn't really a smart option in my mind.
Also, just sidebar before we totally break down the Pete Fairbanks stuff, that Edwin Diaz deal.
3 years, $69 million.
Very reasonable.
Yeah,
you know?
I would have taken that.
Like, super reasonable. I am kind of surprised that Toronto wasn't more involved in those talks.
Would that be $23 million?
$23 million a year, best closer in baseball, arguably.
Yeah, I get it. And there's a community out there, and I don't know if Ross Atkins is part of that. Maybe he is. There's a community out there, people that are saying, like, man, getting over $20 million for relief pitcher is just dangerous, but Edwin Diaz is one of the best, so you have to pay him for that. But it's dangerous because, like any given year, like even Diaz has had a bad year, a blip or two here and there in his career, but for the most part been very good. So there, there's a community that thinks that like why pay that money. I'm not in that community.
Yeah,
but there is a community out there.
I genuinely just disagree with that. Like quality is quality, and for whatever reason, it's like because a position player plays significantly more games, even though he's not nearly as talented of an athlete or a baseball player, he should get paid the same. Like that just doesn't add up to me. I don't think that makes sense. Either way, great deal for the Dodgers. That's what they do, man. LA gets better. Yeah. Also, 500 legends in here. I see some questions rolling in just due to the nature of this show. We got a bunch of stuff that we got to go through, and there's so many comments and questions. We want to get to them. There's a link in the description to our mailbag. We're going to be answering at least 5 to 10 questions from the mailbag. I'm sure you have that this evening in this show. So if you have a burning question, click the link, submit it. Hopefully we will get to it. It's just very difficult to like be bouncing back and forth like that while we're also talking about this.
We're a two-man show. We're hosting, producing, and reading comments. It's harder than it looks, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I want to transition back over to the relief pitching side of things. To finish off that Edwin Diaz thing, think about this. He put up a 3 WAR last year. How many relief pitchers put up 3 WAR? That's the thing. Sure. Like $23 million could get you a 4 to 5 WAR player on a good year, right? I get it, but for that slot in your roster, no one can give you at least a 3 WAR.
Yeah.
So overall, you're kind of, it's like a running back in football.
Right.
If you think about fantasy, right? Like, yeah, sure, some of them aren't the best, but you're willing to take a high draft pick on one of them because there aren't too many of them out there.
Getting the best of the best is important. And honestly, like that 3 WAR, I would argue is more, more valuable potentially than the 3 WAR that you're getting from your, I don't know, 8th hitter or what have you, right? Again, like we could debate till the cows come home about the math there, but obviously Edwin Diaz phenomenal. Pete Fairbanks though also very, very good. Last year 1.2 WAR, so not quite as good as Edwin Diaz. In fact, not even half as good. But ERA of 2.83, 60.1 innings to his name, 59 strikeouts, whip just over 1. Very good career. And according to that tweet right there, Blue Jays and Mets on what I think would be a steal of a deal is what he's projecting. 2 years, $24 million. I would smash that in a heartbeat for somebody that could come in and immediately be our closer. And frankly, considering where the Mets are at right now, I mean, like, Blue Jays, go, have at it. They are in free fall land.
I want to have that Mets conversation because I feel like everything we're going to talk about tonight is really directly impacted by what the hell the Mets are doing right now. But to finish this off, like Pete Fairbanks coming into the Blue Jays, I think from my perspective, it would be a bit of a competition, of course, between Jeff Hoffman and him. I think that they're almost in the same tier, in my opinion. Like, I know Jeff Hoffman had a bad year, but but he is the proven closer. He is right here. He's got the job. Unless Pete Fairbanks, totally shits the bed, he'll probably will have it. But if he comes out in spring training and is pretty good, along with Jeff Hoffman, who maybe I'm saying is due for a bounce back, then I think there should be some split roles for the closing job in 2025. So I think that's the direction they need to go. I've been saying it for like literally a month now.
Having more quality individuals certainly makes everything a lot easier. I've been wanting somebody of Edwin Diaz's caliber, so it's just literally a plug and play, and you can forget about it. And then there is no kind of competition. Like, we know immediately that Edwin Diaz is the guy, and Jeff Hoffman is not the guy anymore, and he's going to be the 7th or the 8th inning type of guy, and that's how we're going to start the season. Fairbanks, I still think, based on what he did last year, like, probably walking in as the guy, but certainly you'd be more willing to do a closer by committee.
Or like a spring training tryout or something like that.
Could be a spring training tryout. Although it's really tough with relief pitchers, though, especially because, spring training tryout, you get 4 innings to prove yourself. It's like, how much are we going to learn from those 4 or 5 innings?
Yeah, and see, that's where like I almost lean they're just going to give it to Hoffman until proven otherwise. Like, that's what again, we know the Blue Jays so damn good. Like, they are reluctant to give up that closing status from Jeff Hoffman, even though there was clearly better options in that pen near the end of the year. He still was a closer. Adding Pete Fairbanks, I think like he's going to be knocking on the door. But until Jeff Hoffman starts sucking, then it's like, all right, Pete, you're in now.
Honestly, I think I would push back on that a little bit, just because it's like they did come out at the end of year pressers and they said it's like, we don't have a, like, we're willing to, where the door is open.
True.
And I think if you were to go out and you were to spend, like, let's say they splash $13-14 million a year on this guy, I would anticipate that the conversation, the selling point for him would be you're going to come in and you're going to be our guy to start.
Well, we'll see how it is. I mean, again, like you're also spending $11 million on Hoffman too, right? Even though he was bad last year, but we'll see how it is. It's one of those situations again, like it's open for interpretation. We'll have to see how they're looking come spring training, and it'll probably be beyond than the results on the field. It's going to be the bullpen sessions. How's his arm feeling? How's the velocity looking? How's the stuff looking? Like whoever's got the better stuff in that part is probably going to get the job, at least to begin the year.
And either way, we can both certainly agree that bringing in more people, more quality people like Pete Fairbanks is obviously the way of it. I see some people in the chat saying Tyler Rogers could be that guy. I'm here. I'm open. Listen, I am open for this. You have an ERA that's below 3. You've been doing it consistently, and you got a couple saves to your name. Sign me up, man. Like I personally am in the camp where, at least from last year, maybe next year is going to be different because bullpen is so volatile. But last year, I was under the belief that Jeff Hoffman could not be the closer for us because there was just way too much inconsistency. Bring in more people, have more options. If Hoffman wants to play like April or October Hoffman for the whole year, fuck it. I'm more than happy to be proven wrong. But if not, well, there's Pete Fairbanks, or there's Tyler Rogers, or there's whoever you have ready to go, bang, slot him in, and we're rolling.
Louis Varland? Anyone?
Honestly, dude, I've thought about Louis Varland in that spot. Like, he's got the stuff to play there, right?
The dog stuff, you know?
Well, and also, too, like,
stuff.
he's, like 100 miles per hour on that heater when he wants it to.
Yeah.
Okay, and like I always thought, even when he wasn't doing well with the Toronto Blue Jays after they traded for him, I always thought that his outings and just the way that he threw the baseball looked honestly the sexiest out of a lot of the people out of that pen. I know that that's just the eyeball test.
Well, and you saw him the most, so maybe you're biased.
We did see him. That's true.
But you're right though. Like I do love his energy and what he brings to the mound and the presence he brings to the mound. And 100 miles per hour. Like that's what I want for my closer. Like when there's a closer coming out like Johan Duran, I know he's a beast and a different animal than Louis Varland. But like when Johan Duran steps on the mound, I'm like, oh shit, here's 102 that we can't hit. You know, we haven't been hitting the velocity all night. Now I got to hit 102, and I got 3 outs to go, and I have to score 2 runs here. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So, like, Louis Varland, like, still a young kid, maybe could up the velocity. So,
well, and I'll tell you what, again, I don't, like, there's so many hoops that they need to jump through to get to this point, but if they ever did want to slowly transition him into that guy for the Toronto Blue Jays, like, that'd be really exciting because they do have him under contract for, like, what, 5 more years?
Oh, yeah.
Like, throwback to, I know that everybody used to get on him and we never liked having him. I think it was just a life of luxury for us, but when we had Jordan Romano, you knew every year walking in that that's our guy, he's our closer, no debate, no, like, I don't really like having to go out every offseason and get another one and get another, like, it's nice having that security blanket right there, and if they were to transition Louis Varland into that guy, again, I think there's a lot of hoops to jump through, but then now for the next, like, several years, here he is.
You know what's great, too? Like, he's in the prime of his career. He's 28 years old, if you believe it or not. 28 years old, he's going to be under a rookie contract for the next 2 seasons, and then 27, 28, 29 is arbitration. He's a free agent 2030. Like, that's unbelievable. And then he's going to be, 33 years old? Like, okay, like, we'll see what you are at that point. Like, maybe you are the closer at that point. Maybe you are the guy that's shutting people out in the final innings. That's a great place to be.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue, like, you need a World Series caliber team. They got to have, like, their one MVP level bat. They got to have one, probably more than one, but at least 1 or 2, like, kind of Cy Young, any singularly or Cy Young caliber pitcher. And then a World Series caliber dynasty team probably needs to have a locked-in closer who is there and who is elite, right? Yeah. And, like, to create a dynasty could be just a thought right there. Just a thought.
Like
Shout out to Ari Pie right here with the $13.99 dono. W's in the chat for Ari Pie. Tucker and Fairbanks, 10 out of 10 off season. Could not
100%.
agree more. I mean, I think you can even keep off Fairbanks at that. You bring in Kyle Tucker. That's the number one guy. You got Dylan Cease. You got Cody Ponce. You managed to get Shane Bieber back on a very team-friendly deal that he probably should not have signed, but did so because he loves the vibes, loves the city of Toronto. You do that, it's still 10 out of 10 for me. We can worry about the closer later.
Oh, yeah. Like, you got so much bloody starting pitching in a year where, let's not forget, during the regular season, we were screaming like, shit, like, we need pitching badly. You go in and dress that with 3 dudes. I mean, if you want to include Shane Bieber in that mix, 3 dudes coming back. And then, you go address the need, which is closer. Like, middle relief wasn't really our problem. It was getting to the ninth inning and getting through the 9th inning, which was always the problem for the Blue Jays. Boom, you slap in a new closer, and you keep back, most of your offense. And, if you lose Bo, but get Tucker, you can argue upgraded.
You did upgrade. I don't even think that's an argument. I think it is, right? He is the more complete baseball player, and ultimately that is why he's going to be getting probably close to double the money.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Maybe this is a slow transition into like where the market is for Tucker right now. Like Kyle Tucker, he's 28 years old. I'm looking at other guys around the league around this time who would put up numbers like he has. Probably a 10-year deal coming up for Kyle Tucker. You look at other players like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is getting $36 million a year. And you could argue like, well, Tucker's got more tools, right? He's got he can steal bases, he can play great defense. Okay, let's say he gets that $40 million a year. Boom, that's the $400 million contract you're talking about. And I'm looking around at these other teams right now. I don't see another team offering him $400 million right now or committing to it. Like, think about the teams right now. Yankees are cutting back on their budget. They're talking about maybe getting back Cody Bellinger. If they don't, oh, well, we got Trent Grisham. Mets are freaking out. We're going to have that conversation tonight. They're not willing to spend any money. It feels like they're going backwards, trying to do a retool. Dodgers, they could do it. You could, throw that out there. But they haven't been in any conversations, as of some reports, with Kyle Tucker. So who's left? The Red Sox? Feels like their priority right now is a lot of infield, and like Tucker really hasn't been in a lot of conversations. So it's the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays, it feels like they're driving that narrative right now for him.
I really think and you look at some of the betting odds in Vegas, and it's like it's Jays, and then it's Dodgers, and then it's a pretty steep fall off. The Yankees are in there, but that's kind of just because they are the Yankees, and at any given point something could happen. But I mean, I like our chances, man. After Schwarber went back to the Phillies, they were the one squad that I was looking at a lot and going, that makes sense. I could see them going balls to the wall and trying to capitalize on the last couple years of Bryce Harper's prime by bringing in somebody else. If they lose Kyle Schwarber, no big deal because they bring back Kyle Tucker. Well, they just spent They just spent a lot of money on Kyle Schwarber, bringing him back. Great move for them. They probably, they know what they have out of that guy. He's a phenomenal baseball player, and now they get to run it back again, and they're going to be a quality baseball team, probably going to win upwards of 90 games once again, but that should theoretically take them out of the running for Kyle Tucker, unless they want to go Dodger mode or Blue Jays mode at this point and go nuclear, but I just don't see them doing that. So it's Jays, it's Dodgers maybe, and Yankees maybe, but Toronto's certainly the most incentivized, you have to imagine now.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I thought I had something here on Kyle Tucker and his market, but if I don't, I'll bring it up a little bit later. But yeah, let's talk about those New York Mets, because today all I saw on my Twitter feed was just about how they lost Alonso, of course. Alonso, as I'll flash up right here, signed the 5-year, $155 million contract to the Baltimore Orioles. That's a whole other conversation. Orioles, just their lineup looking pretty good. If they can find a way to bounce back with those core guys, with Pete Alonso, my goodness, that's a scary Orioles team. But they lost Alonso. They lost Diaz, and they lost so far a lot of other guys. They traded away Nimmo. They obviously let go of Helsley. Gregory Soto's gone. Mullins gone. They still got Rogers, Marte, Stanek, Winker, Canning. All still free agents. We don't know if they're going to get them back. And all they've acquired right now is Devin Williams, who had a terrible year last year, and Marcus Semien, whose contract's looking like it's aging like milk. So it's what the hell is going on right here? So that some people have been talking about, well, they're probably going to go crazy balls to the wall. But like we're talking about, I don't know, because we're looking at right now, like Steve Cohen was the one going balls to the wall for them, and I forget their GM's name. If you remember it, please let me know. The GM is kind of taking control of this offseason per Bob Nightingale, and is kind of doing a whole reset. So if that's the case, then yeah, like the one other team that I'd be scared of other than the Phillies was you guys, and it doesn't look like you're going to do it.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about the New York Mets right now. When you let your team historical leader in home runs being Pete Alonso leave without even offering him a contract,
that's pathetic.
That screams to me that we're not looking to spend big. We're looking to cut back, actually, is what that says to me, right?
Yeah.
We spent majorly in the offseason prior bringing in Juan Soto, and now we have that guy forever, so we're going to have that window for a long period of time. We're in no rush right now to capitalize on that window because we got him forever. He's still very, very good. Should theoretically still be very, very good in years to come. So we're not threatened about that. But now it seems to me that they're going to cut back quite a bit and then try to build some other window for him in 2 or 3 or 4 years time when maybe they feel like they have more of a structure or what have you.
I think they're effing up big time right now, like, because their miscommunication is crazy. It's David Stern that it is. Like, David Stern, and I learned this today, he's from the Milwaukee's organization, and Milwaukee was operating under, okay, we have a small budget right now, we got to utilize our players, and then when they're coming around to get paid, we got to get rid of them because we can't afford it. And it feels like that mentality is leaking in right now. And it's good when you're trying to reset and build like a new wave and you got like talent coming up. And maybe they do. And maybe I'm really ignorant. I don't know that's happening. But you already went out and you got the Juan Sotos and you got the Francisco Lindors. And it felt like you were just like a few bigger pitching moves away from and adding back Pete Alonso from taking a run at it again. But now, like, you're stepping backwards. And now we're hearing reports coming out that there's no indication that they're even going after Bellinger or Kyle Tucker. Like, for me, like, and I shout out to Tyler Wardu NYN, shout out to that guy. But like, I'd be confused as fuck if I was that guy right now. Everything is going south right now, and I don't know what to believe. I don't know what direction this team is in right now.
You know what? I don't want to go too hard on David Stern, just simply because we haven't had an opportunity yet to actually see the vision. We don't know what it is. Like right now, it's chaos mode, and yeah, like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But if he is capable of building some type of foundation there, like he did in Milwaukee, and then once the foundation is set, then we can spend all the crazy money and, kind of build some dynasty in that way. I could see how that could make a lot of sense, but it does feel like with Steve Cohen and just the nature of the New York Mets, they're kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and it's really tough to do anything when you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out like that. And so obviously they got to figure out what their direction is. The one thing I will say, though, is this just it makes for an amazing spot that the Toronto Blue Jays are in, because in so many off seasons prior, we're obviously fighting these guys. We're going toe-to-toe with the New York Mets, and Uncle Steve will not be beaten. He's obviously going to go out and get his guy, and we've seen that happen time and time again. Doesn't sound like they're in the mix this year, which is great news for us. And also, if they were to be in the mix for anybody, I see people in chat talking about it, it should probably be a starting pitcher, which is their biggest need. So I'm not worried about them at all right now in terms of the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes. Maybe they throw a couple bucks at Cody Bellinger because he is going to be, theoretically hundreds of $1 millions cheaper than a Kyle Tucker. So maybe they
first.
go, and that's true. That's true. Right now, they obviously need another one of those. So maybe they get into those talks. But I certainly don't see them in the Bichette conversations, and I don't at this current juncture see them in the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes. Which again, great news for Toronto because those are the two guys that I'm really looking at.
Yeah, this is all great news, man. Things are developing in a great way. Just because we're missing out on big names doesn't necessarily mean the sky is falling. And in fact, I actually think it's a lot better for your Toronto Blue Jays. Now we got a question here from Tyler, and I think this transitions perfectly because Pete Alonso, he's away from the Mets, but guess what? He's in the NL East now for the next 5 seasons. So this one comes in from Tyler saying, now that Alonso is signed with the Orioles, do you think this makes signing Tucker a priority now for the Blue Jays? I heard Ross Atkins come out and speak about this earlier today. He was saying, like, the priority is always starting pitching, and he got the starting pitching, and now it's finding ways to, find players to complement the team. But now, does he let that, like, knowing outside force, like, of Alonso coming in, put more pressure on getting a Tucker deal done, or does this mean absolutely nothing?
I'll be honest. I don't think this means a whole lot. Like, the AL East is the AL Beast for a reason. I saw this crazy thing today. I think it might have been from John Morosi, but after that Pete Alonso signing, it was out of the projected win totals for next year. So they have all these projected win totals, math, analytics, bullshit. But 5 out of the top 14 teams in MLB are from the AL East. So the entire AL East is considered to be an above average team in terms of projected wins for 2026.
So they got the Rays, like, probably, I'm assuming Rays are like near the bottom of
I didn't see all of where everybody was. But yeah, you have to imagine that the Rays might be the 14th out of it, but still like considered to be an above average squad, right? And obviously the Yankees are going to be projected for a ton, and Blue Jays are going to be projected for a ton, and Baltimore, like, they had a weird year last year. I don't think that they're as good as they were when they won 100 games. I don't think that they're as bad as they were when they did that last year. I think they're somewhere kind of meeting in the middle. That's probably a high 80s win team should they be able to figure out some of their pitching woes right there. That's probably where they're at. So they're going to be good. And Boston, I know a lot of Boston fans are upset right now, pissed off that they lost out on Pete Alonso because that was supposedly supposed to be their guy. I saw Jared Carabas talking about this, saying it was always going to be Bregman and someone, as in Alonso, and that felt like the cleanest fit. Now Boston fans are freaking out a little bit because they obviously got to get back Alex Bregman and then still go and do something. But regardless, Boston is always a competent franchise. I don't remember the last time that Boston was like terrible. Like, they're always good.
Their management's been made some very questionable decisions. The lineup's always been very good. The pitching's always been the big problem for them, but feels like they're figuring out the pitching pretty damn good. They got some young, nice prospects coming up. I think Boston's going to be really good. And there's a tweet out there. I don't have it directly up here, but it said something along the lines of the Boston Red Sox are targeting Bichette, or it was, well, first it started with Alonso. Like, one of Boston Red Sox target, Pete Alonso's now off the board. The other targets they've been looking at are Bichette, a Tucker, Bellinger, Eugenio Suarez, Bregman. And you know what that reminded me of? Damn, they're pulling a Toronto Blue Jays. They're just shooting the shots now. Like, now their opportunities start to come up. We saw it a little bit last year when they were flirting with the idea of getting Juan Soto, and they really wanted to get Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and they made the trade for Garrett Crochet. And now it feels like this offseason, they're pulling what Blue Jays did the last couple off seasons, where it's like, we're going to just shoot shots. We don't care. We want to land somebody to make this team better.
So the one thing I will say about that, taking the shotgun approach here, they do have their price range. And I actually saw this earlier today, and I was pretty pleased about it. This is coming from Boston Strong, and by Julian Mack is the one that reported this at Boston Insider. Take this for what you will. But apparently the Red Sox not really in the Bo Bichette sweepstakes anymore because they are thinking that his price range is a little bit too high.
I wonder who's offering him that much money.
Well, he might just be asking for a ton. You know,
he might just be asking for a ton.
He could be, and you got to, again, this is where the whole Bo Bichette stuff is going to get weird and wonky because if Bo Bichette is asking for $250 because he thinks he's a shortstop and also really good offensively speaking, that's just not. I just don't think you're going to get that. Because you're not a shortstop anymore, or teams aren't looking at you like that.
Yeah,
so.
I think Bo Bichette's probably gonna get options at this point. Like, the way things are developing, I think the other players are gonna get prioritized, like Tucker, like we were talking about, Bregman most likely, Cody Bellinger. Like, Bo Bichette's a weird one where, do you sign this guy for that length of a deal, 8 to 10 years, and do you pay him like a shortstop? Do you pay him like a second baseman, like you're saying? Like, I don't know. It feels weird. And I don't know if anyone's going to offer him the money that he wants other than the Toronto Blue Jays. And if the Blue Jays are the ones that are going after Tucker, then they might not be if they get Tucker, then I don't know if they're going to be willing to give him that much of a contract. And maybe it has to be some sort of options that he has to try again in the following season.
Well, I think it was Justin in here. If it wasn't, then apologies. But somebody's in here saying, like, guys, how do you not see this? Like, they could be deferring money and they could be getting both of them back in terms of Tucker and Bo.
Sure.
And I would say that, like, if there's any reality where Toronto brings in both Tucker and Bo, which right now at this point, like, losing a little bit of steam. Some of the recent reports haven't really indicated that that's how much they want to spend. But if there was a reality where they were to do that, then I think it would require a couple things. One, it's probably Bo Bichette's deal is in the world of opt-outs and options and mutual options, opt-outs, shorter term, because it's really hard to wrap your brain around signing two guys for 6 years plus, and that's just ultimately where we've kind of been living in the world that we've been living is, well, Bo's going to get 8 years and Tucker's going to get 11 years, and they're all going to be, high average annual values and whatever. So one, it would probably have to be Bo Bichette is in that realm of opt-outs and mutual options and what have you. And then two, and I think it was Justin that was bringing this up as well, probably a world where there's some deferrals in a Tucker contract.
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be anyways.
I just think that
even with both those guys.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's kind of like the new meta in MLB is the deferred contract. When you're in a World Series window, you defer it to a time frame where you don't think you're going to be in the World Series, or you think the CBA is going to be higher at that point, so it's not going to mean as much.
Yeah.
So you're going to kick the can down the road as much as fucking possible.
And that's another thing too. And we asked Bob Nightingale about this. Like, does the CBA affect any of these deals? He's saying no. Like, they're kind of operating like there will be some sort of deal done. So I feel like there won't be too much of an impact, but. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, it's gonna, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Oh, sorry, I was reading something. I lost my
Well, look, the CBA definitely impacts it in the sense where if you're anticipating there's going to be, a higher threshold before the luxury tax, if you think that money is going up and up and up and up, then the money now, like $10 million now, is more valuable than it's going to be in 10 years from now. Because obviously, like, it's it's going to count for less if that makes sense to people.
Yeah, and that's why I think the Vlad deal is going to be fucking awesome. Because like in 10 years from now, 36 million, dude, that's a joke. I mean, think about other guys too. There's no wonder why, like, you look at contracts that they age well, like they're still performing well, and you're like, how the hell is this guy signed for only 20 mil? Like, look at Kevin Gausman right now. Like, fuck, this guy's only signed for like $22 million. Like, how the fuck? And like, this guy's like one of your best pitchers.
Yes.
So it's gonna age well.
Yeah. Ultimately, as long as Vlad's still performing, should have aged well. But also too, to the point of could you get back Bellinger, or could you get back or Tucker and Bo? Would likely have to be a deferral thing. Would likely have to be opt-outs. But the deferral, I mean, I'm here for it, man. Like, deferred money. I guess we haven't gotten to the point yet where we're seeing the negative effect of deferred money.
No, of course.
Maybe I'll feel differently. Like, if the Dodgers go through a deep, dark depression where they're paying 68 for Ohtani, who's not on their team anymore, and they're paying a bunch for other guys who aren't on their team anymore, and it's not working for them, I might feel differently. But for right now, that's a later problem.
You know what this feels like? It feels like the Roaring '20s right before the crash.
Oh yeah.
Like, let's just spend money, rich, yeah, success, party, and then there'll be a crash at some point.
Look, it could be a bubble. I don't know. It could be a bubble. But hey, the Dodgers have won 2 back-to-back World Series, and now apparently the Ohtani contract's paid for itself.
Right.
So I guess you're fine.
Yeah, that's true. Just got to keep winning World Series, so keep investing. We got a dono in here from Jason, who's saying John Schneider interview with Hazel sounds like Jays want him back. And yeah, it does sound like they do. And Bo is still shopping. Well, it feels like they're keeping their options open like they would with anybody else. Now, speaking of... I think I got it right here. Just hypothetical. Yeah, speaking of Tucker and Bo, this one comes in from Daniel saying, if the Jays don't land Tucker or Bo, what's the pivot after that? Because honestly, and we've been talking like they're going to get one. And I still believe they're going to get one of these players. But what if they don't? What do they do?
Just to that quick point about them getting one, that's also why I'm not worried. And for those individuals who are freaking out online already when they're seeing some of these bigger names go off the board, for me, I'm just not concerned because we weren't in on Alonso and we weren't in on Schwarber. If it was Bo that went off the board, I would start to get worried at that point, because that is one of your 2 options that you feel strongly about bringing back. And if you haven't already got the other option, or if it's not heating up to a point where we're close to the finish line, now I'm starting to worry. But because I'm still confident in getting both of them, not worried yet. Should they miss out on both of them, though, the pivot for me, I mean, it's tough because there's not necessarily another individual out there, offensively speaking, that I look at as being the same as those guys. I suppose you could argue Bellinger.
Bellinger would be,
but I don't know. I guess I haven't seen enough rumors or reports that they like Bellinger enough to actually sit here and tell you that that's what they would pivot to. I think that's kind of a fairy tale land,
and
honestly.
Also, too, and take his word, don't take his word, but John Heyman believes that Bellinger will probably go before actually Kyle Tucker, which is funny because we thought here Kyle Tucker would be the domino effect. I think Kyle Tucker's a domino for Bo Bichette because the Jays are specifically in on Kyle Tucker and Bo Bichette, but they're not necessarily in on Cody Bellinger. So Cody Bellinger could easily go to one of the New York teams, and that would be over. So if you miss out on if you somehow miss out on Tucker and Bo, I think you're just kind of screwed.
You know what I think?
I think you're screwed.
Genuinely, what I think the pivot is at that point is you go hard in the paint signing relief pitchers.
Right.
And now the strategy is we are less of a hit first, ask questions later team. We're still going to be good offensively because at the end of the day, we just lost Bo. And that team in September could still hit when they didn't have Bo, and that team in the playoffs when they didn't have Bo could still hit. So I don't think we're going to take a horrendously terrible step back when it comes to offensive production. But now you're going to take some of that money that you were considering investing in Bo or investing in Tucker, and you're probably going to reinvest it in the pitching staff, which they've already done at this point, getting Cease, getting Ponce. But, there's been some reports that they're already still looking into that pitching market.
Right.
They still want to go out and get starting pitchers. And I think that would just be even further exasperated if they missed out on one of those bats, or both of those bats. Sorry.
I think that's actually a good transition. Let's bring that up right here, because you brought this up to me, and I'm like, really? Like, they're still going?
They're still going.
Ross Atkins is Ross the boss, man. He still keeps going. This one came out in Ben Nicholson-Smith and a Shai Davidi article today, talking about a potential new pitcher that could also potentially start for the Blue Jays. That man is Brad Keller. This is the quote from the article saying, one way or another, the Blue Jays remain open to adding further pitching capable of starting, and their interest in free agent Brad Keller is also interesting within that context, because Keller is a free agent who posted a 2.07 ERA, 69.2 nice innings with the Cubs this past season. He's a former starter who's drawing interest as both the starter and reliever, which adds whichever team adds him will gain flexibility heading into 2026 season. So yeah, I mean, Brad Keller, I've always known this guy as the guy in Kansas City when they were bad that just always started. He was kind of like our version of Trent Thornton for a while when the Blue Jays were bad. Like, you had to pitch somebody out there, and he always ended up with a mid-5, high-4 ERA. But going to the bullpen, whatever he did in Chicago, it really worked. So if they want to take, I guess, another shot, I don't know what his contract would look like, on him to be a long man, I guess, why not? You can never have enough pitching, but I don't know what the hell you're going to do with the rest of the guys in that bullpen, to be honest.
I'm certainly not against it. More pitching, good. Less pitching, not as good.
Yeah.
So you want to go out and get a guy that did throw a decent amount of innings last year and had quality innings. Totally down, love it. But yeah, the questions, you're certainly not beating the Jose Barrios allegations at that point of what we're going to do with them.
Oh my God.
Because like genuinely now, it feels like if you bring in somebody like Brad Keller, who has the option to be a starter, but would be a bullpen piece, almost identical to what they're thinking Jose Barrios could be right now.
And we're not even talking about Eric Lauer.
Not even talking about Eric Lauer. Where do all of these individuals go? Happy to have good baseball players on this ball team. Never going to say no. Want more bullpen, and Brad Keller proved that he can be a good bullpen guy over there in Chicago. But, yeah, I mean, there's going to need to be some decisions made eventually on who's actually fucking throwing the ball.
Hey, you know what? Why doesn't everyone just agree? Like, guys, just join the wagon. Forget your past roles and forget your ego. Who cares about what role you're playing? Just be happy you're on the Blue Jays wagon. You know, if you're a starting pitcher and you're coming out in the 5th or 6th
you're gonna come here to ride the bench.
Just come ride the hey, you know what, I'll give you 60 innings. I'll give you 60, 50 innings, maybe out of the bullpen, and there'll be quality innings. Like, why not? Like, let's just do something unorthodox and take you out of your traditional roles. Apparently that's what they're doing with Jose Barrios. And so I made a video following up on that Tuesday, the Jose Barrios thing, because right when we ended our live on Monday, that news dropped that, like, he just wasn't with the team anymore. But then more news dropped saying that, like, yeah, they basically just have the intention of keeping him with the team, like, for next year, but, like, in whatever role is going to find him. But I just highly doubt that he's going to enjoy that role if it's coming out of the bullpen.
Well, you know what? I agree with you. However, what can he do about it? What can he actually... Unless he's willing to sit out, which baseball players never do.
So you're already sitting out.
That's anyway. It's like what can you actually do? You're under contract. So, yeah, you can be pissy and you can not like it. But, I mean, the Toronto Blue Jays, they're well within their right to actually do nothing with you if they want. That's just the reality of it. And they're going to pay you, I think, $24 million to do maybe nothing. So, if that's how they want to spend their money, like they're entitled to do so. I would have thought that they would want to utilize it a bit more efficiently.
Yeah.
But hey, man, like maybe this is just what it is to be one of the top 5 markets in baseball. You have good players who would be, big time contributors on other people's teams, doing not a whole lot.
This feels like the Dodgers. Remember for the last couple seasons, even this season they've done it already, where they just cut good players. Yeah, that's what it feels like we're heading to right now.
Also, quick shout out to Carson, who has asked for a shout out a couple times here. So we see you, Carson. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, by the way, to the 827 people that are watching, that are liking, that are enjoying this coverage right now, guys. Final day of winter meetings. We're going through everything that transpired over the last 3 days, and even though there hasn't been a big major transaction here from the Toronto Blue Jays in these last 3 days, feels like we're building towards something right now. They're setting the framework. They're setting the foundation to go out and to do something.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're answering your questions along the way. So if you want to submit a question, the link is in the description. I'm trying to get to as many as possible while we're live here, because we'll be live for a little bit right now. All depends on what kind of rumors come out in the next little bit. We got a question here from Farhan saying, besides Bichette, which re-signing is likely to happen for the Jays? And I believe you're talking about former Blue Jay players. I would say a Sir Anthony Dominguez is probably the most likely. We brought him up on the show, I believe, on Monday. Because, we just brought it up. Like, are you going to add Chris Bassett back into the bullpen? It'd be the bullpen. Like, he's a bullpen guy now. He's not a starting pitcher. I don't know. Maybe, if he has no market come February and he's like, fuck it, let's ride and I'll be your relief guy. I don't care. My house here, my kids are here, my wife's here. Like, let's just go and ride and do this thing. Sure, let's go. But yeah, I don't see him coming back as a starting pitcher. And Max Scherzer, he's not coming back. Like, he needs to be a starter if he's going to play with the team. I don't think he's going to come back to the Jays. The only realistic guy that makes the most sense is Sir Anthony Dominguez.
Easiest fit, easiest slot. He's certainly been good at times. He's had his moments for certain, but ultimately, like Sir Anthony Dominguez, you don't really need to think too hard about how you're going to utilize him. He's going to be a middle to late inning relief pitcher, and that's just going to be what it is. And other than somebody like a Brad Hand, or not Brad Hand, sorry. God damn it! Now Brad Keller, where you're kind of like figuring out how you're going to utilize him and what have you. You don't really need to do that with Sir Anthony. We already know. I'd be happy to have him back. I don't think it's the only move that they should make for the bullpen. I think if you want to bring him back, I'm here for it. But then I would also like to see them go out and get something else as well.
No, that's fair. Now I see you brought up an Overdrive clip here. No, we haven't listened to it because this has just come out literally 10 minutes ago, so we haven't heard the whole clip, but there's a quote that Overdrive is taken from Keegan Matheson, who's came on to their show, talking about the latest on the Blue Jays and Kyle Tucker sweepstakes. Keegan Matheson saying it's not a market that they're going to chase, they're going to let it come to them, and that's what, it feels like that's what it's turning into, whereas at first, it might have seemed like they were chasing, but now that we're starting to see the bigger picture of which other teams had priorities on other players, the Blue Jays are really the only team that would be willing to give him what he'd want or what he's projected to get. So there's no point overspending. You have the leverage at this point. Let Kyle Tucker come to you now, because even to Kyle Tucker, you might be the clear and obvious choice, and you might want to come and play for them, just like Dylan Cease wanted to come and play for the Blue Jays. So let him come to you and see what kind of deal would make sense for him.
I also think that a lot of people, especially, now that we've been in these talks for about a month and we've been hearing Kyle Tucker's name and whatever, we've all kind of mentally put it in our brains that we have to have him. We will not be a good baseball team if we don't have him. If we don't slot that guy, we've gone through the lineup we've imagined it, when we're dazing off in the middle of our day, we're thinking about Tucker batting second, and it's awesome, and it's, fucking electric. And now that we've done that a handful of times, we've allowed ourselves to believe, it feels like we can't possibly live in a world where he's not a Toronto Blue Jay. But the Jays I don't think the Jays feel like that. Let's zoom out for a little bit and think about a month and a half ago. If we would have been talking about Kyle Tucker, no one would have even really thought that this is a legit thing. The Jays don't need Kyle Tucker; they have offense,
and we're gonna get Bo Bichette back.
We don't need, right? So I think that Toronto is probably in the middle of both of those trains of thought right now, where if it's there, and you can lock up somebody that gets MVP votes effectively every single season, like you're gonna take that opportunity and you're not gonna let that pass you by, because it is rare, and they have missed out on several of those guys in the last couple of years, so they know what it's like to miss out, and now they have a chance to maybe get one. But at the same point, like, I still think Toronto is going to be a very good baseball team in 2026 if they don't end up getting Kyle Tucker. I would like to see them go out and get a bat. So that either that's Bo Bichette or somebody similar to that. I'd like to see them go do that. So then it's like no questions whatsoever. You're definitely going to be there. But even if they didn't, I mean, what? Like, we're going to win under 80 games next year? I don't think so. I think this is still going to be a very good baseball team.
Yeah, and I will say that, like, getting one of those guys, like Tucker or Bo, whoever it might be, like, that's... Again, I look at baseball as a bunch of dice rolls. Like, you're getting a very strong dice roll for the next however many years, right? 6 to 7, 8 to 9 to 10. And it would be franchise altering if you did sign Kyle Tucker. Let's face it. Like, and this is the opportunity to alter your franchise, because you're coming off the World Series and you're coming off the hype. And even John Steiner mentioned in some interviews, like, they had conversations with the staff, like, how do we capitalize on this momentum right now? Part of it is getting franchise-altering players like Kyle Tucker. So I'm with you where, you know, the team won't be bad next year. Of course, it won't be bad because we have so many other great players. The roster's already looking still so good. But it would be really good for the next decade or so.
It'd be great, man. It would be great. But I think that's why, honestly, they're not necessarily, you know, chasing after it, as Keegan Matheson is saying. They're going to be in those talks. They are going to have meetings. They're going to have ultimately an offer and a number. And if Kyle Tucker's number that he's looking for is significantly higher than that number, they're probably just going to bow out, and they're going to be okay with that.
And maybe they know, because the Blue Jays are a 10 right now. You know, they're the hot 10 person right now. And then they know, like, okay, yeah, if I'm going to say no to this offer, they might come back.
He could come back. Yeah, exactly. Right?
I'm a 10, you know.
Dude,
so
one of the biggest and most important rules when it comes to negotiating is you have to be willing to walk away from the table. Because if you're not willing to walk away from the table, you have zero leverage.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you need to be willing to walk away, and I think that the Jays are going to be willing to walk away. Yeah. Which, I mean, maybe people don't like to hear. Like, I'd love it if they just give them $1 billion and it's locked in. We don't need to think about it. But yeah, for them, like, they're going to be willing to walk away from the table.
But they can walk away with confidence knowing that, like, I can get another player here that it fits what I need, because they are a hot commodity right now. We got a question as well, and a comment here, and a dono from Peter. I can't read that right now. Bartle, $10 dono, saying a lot of fans have been desperate for the team to trade Barrios, and I don't really get it. He is a little overpaid, but he's solid. What do you both think of Barrios staying on the team into 2026? And I did see a lot of questions in the inbox. I was reading them all in the mailbag. A lot of them were about, like, what do you think about the rotation? So if you ask that question, we'll kind of loop it all together right here with Peter's $10 dono. Thank you for the dono. Yeah, what do you think about Barrios staying on the team into 2026? We kind of dabbled in a little bit, but just we can wrap that conversation up.
Like, for me, I don't hate having him on the squad. He's a good player, right? I think that ultimately, if he's here, though, I'd like to see him utilize it a little bit. And as it stands today, I don't know how they're going to utilize him. And I don't know if they know necessarily how they're going to utilize him. Maybe it's because they don't know what the final roster is going to look like. You know, I think it's tough for me not to put my GM hat on and think to myself, okay, well, could that roster spot be utilized better for somebody who might get more playing time and who might have more impact? And just off the top of my head, a lefty bullpen arm.
Right.
Could you move Barrios for a lefty to take some of the weight off of Brendan Little if Jose's not going to be regularly in that rotation? If that's the case, maybe that's the play. However, I'm also not going to sit here and tell you that having Jose Barrios on the roster is bad for the team, because he is a good baseball player, and he's been here for a long time, and ultimately, having depth at starting pitching is awesome, because God forbid you walk in, you have these World Series aspirations, oh yeah, we signed back Bo, and we're feeling great, and then Gausman, down, TJ, Trey Savage,
right.
not the guy that we thought he was going to be, because he's still so young. what the fuck, right?
Yeah.
Well, now you have Jose Barrios waiting in the wings, ready to come up.
And I think it ultimately comes down to a conversation with Jose Barrios, because he is going to be on your team for at least next year, and he's got the player option, a pretty damn good player option at that, because if you decide to make him some sort of utility role, a Swiss Army role in that bullpen or starting rotation, he's ultimately going to lower his value in terms of what he'd get on an open market, so you're actually paying up for him. But you have to have a conversation with him, right? Like, hey, like, this is the reality of our team. And I know you didn't like what happened in the World Series, but we got to talk about this. You've been in this team for a while. You're getting older. Not, I mean, he's still 32 years old. He's not that old. But, like, you know, you're starting to enter this veteran leadership role on this team. Like, we want you to be here because we know you're a great player. We can rely on you. And this is where we see you. Like, if there's an injury, you're the immediate guy plugging into that rotation. So be ready. And if he doesn't like that and he wants to get out, then that's just ultimately what you have to do. Then you have to make it work and trade him if he really wants to get out of here. But if he's going to sulk and not pitch well, then you might as well trade him anyways. But yeah, like, you got to have a conversation with him about what his role is on this team if you want to make it all work. Because at the end of the day, like, if he is all pissy about it, then it's just not going to work with the team chemistry.
That's why I think there is such a conversation, because as it stands, someone is going to be in a role that they're not normally in, and they're not normally comfortable.
And Ross talked about that too. It's like, it happens all the time.
That's just
think about Alek Manoah.
Yeah, like you're just gonna have, like, someone's gonna have to make that adjustment, and we're all imagining it's Jose Barrios. Could it be Cody Ponce, who we just signed? He hasn't been in MLB in a long period of time. I know he's just the KBO MVP, but or maybe they're gonna toss him in the bullpen. I don't know. But somebody is going to have to make a change in the way that they approach the game of baseball. And either way, is there a better way to utilize that roster spot for Jose? Potentially. Not going to complain about having him on the team, though.
No, not at all. No, I did see another overdrive clip. Yes, I did. I got it right here. This one also, Keegan Madison on it. This came out, again, 13, 14 minutes ago. And he's talking about Bo Bichette's market, and this is kind of what we're all sensing right now. There isn't really a surging market for Bo Bichette, which you could probably argue, if you're a Blue Jay fan, is probably a good thing, because if there isn't a lot of people out there competing for him, well, what's the plan B or plan C for Bo Bichette and his agent? Let's go back to Toronto, get some options, and maybe get a better deal the following season or whatnot. So if you go and you do land Kyle Tucker in this hypothetical great world, and Bo Bichette's, okay with taking a 1 or 2 year deal, I mean, that's great for you. Now you can really push hard for the next couple of years. Like, that almost works out for me better, because realistically, getting both these guys locked down for long term isn't realistic. But if you wanted to get one guy on an option year, great. Like, let's make it happen.
Dude, it really is the defense. Like, that's all. That's what it boils down to. I mean, Bo Bichette is such an amazing hitter, but it's just so difficult for, I think, a team to wrap their head around giving somebody an 8-year contract worth, $200 million for just a complete and utter liability in the field.
I know.
Like, that's for arguably maybe the most valuable defensive position, right? Like, that's just so like that 1% is killing him.
Like, look at that.
Right
like,
now.
look at his base running. Look at his fielding. It's just not good.
It's killing him. It's killing his market. And I think, probably a lot of teams are intimidated at the idea of that, and they're just not going to entertain that right now.
This is his best ability. Look at that spray chart.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's incredible.
People want to have that, but -10 fielding run value. Like that's and it's probably just going to get worse as he ages.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? We have never. The fact of the matter is, he is not a good defender, and that is killing his market right now. So I do think ultimately what's bound to happen here is, like Keegan Madison said, there's no surge in the Bo Bichette market. Bo Bichette is probably, in his agency, probably going to have to come down from the idea of asking for a whatever he's asking for, 7, 8 year, 9 year, whatever he's asking for. Probably going to have to come down and come to terms with the idea of doing maybe what Pete Alonso did last year, which is I sign a relatively high average annual value deal with either mutual options or player options or what have you. And it's going to have to be a shorter term thing right there.
You know what he should do? He should come back to the Jays 1 year. He has an opt-out after this year, 2026. And he should be like, I'm going to be the second baseman because my market for shortstop isn't attractive. I'm going to be the best second baseman I could possibly be. Be a really valuable second baseman. maybe his market changes. Like maybe accept that. Cash in. I bet the Blue Jays would give him like 25 to 30 for 1 year. I bet they would do it easily. Cash in on that 1 year. And then see if you can go market yourself as second baseman.
If he could actually play a good year at second base, that would do numbers for him because I see Jay Farrell in here saying it's probably also the belief that his hitting profile won't age well. And look, this could also be true because if you think about somebody like Bo Bichette, if he doesn't have a year where he gets 180 hits,
it's a bad year.
it is like he's actually killing your baseball team.
Yeah.
Because if he has a season where it's like even an average year, a 750 OPS. Well, now you're paying upwards of $25 million a year for a mid-bat with terrible legs and horrendous defense. And if you're a baseball team, like, that is going to sink you.
Yeah.
So you need him to hit this ceiling of I'm always going to be a top-tier hitter every single year, which is just genuinely tough to do.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Bichette, we believe you. Come on over. Come on back. I believe you should come here for the next... Honestly, like, I could see Bo, like, if he's not getting... Because an 8-year deal feels, like, unrealistic for Bo Bichette. I really think it's going to be more in the camp of like a 3 to 5. You know what I mean? Like realistically, because like who would want to take that risk? Seriously, yeah. Because like if people are worried about, first of all, you shouldn't be worried about the defense aging poorly because it's already aged poorly and the legs have aged poorly.
Right.
So that's already answered. Now the last thing that's providing any value is the bat. So if you're scared of that aging, then yeah, you're not giving him 8 years.
Yeah, I think it's ultimately just there's not like if he's not hitting like he hits, there's not a whole lot for him to fall back on. He doesn't even have the power either, right?
Power's
like at
gone.
least you could argue to yourself, well, if this guy like he has a great season, but in his career he's always been hitting for power. Well, worst case scenario, he's gonna hit 220 but still have 30 homers. Like you can argue yourself a floor. Bichette's floor is actually like I'm terrible. But his ceiling again. I love him. I do love him.
I will say though, like he is such a great hitter. Like he is the best hitter, just pure hitter in baseball. What I mean by pure hitter is the ability to put a barrel to a ball and put it in play on a line drive. Like he is the best in my opinion. No bias aside, and other people have even agreed with me. Like he's the best pure hitter in baseball. So that's what he's got. That's the selling point. Anything else doesn't matter. Like he will slap balls to right field all day long, get you 2 hits a game. Boom, you can cash that in with Bo Bichette. But like you got to be asking yourself, how long is he willing to do that? And then that's what you'll tag on with the contract.
Yeah, exactly. Like you need to feel confident that he is capable of doing that for an extended period of time. And I guess teams like. They're just not as confident as Bo Bichette is as confident. Yeah. And you have Danielle Castro in here with the dono saying, I think some other teams are seeing Bo Bichette as a DH. And that's also totally, again, like that's actually what he is. Like that's his player profile. The only reason that he still plays defense is because he's 27 and 28. It's like I actually don't even know. Like because he's always played defense. And it's
because, like, if he's slow and can't play defense, he needs to hit homers just to get through the bases. But he's going to slap a single to right field. And then
it's a weird one, man. It is a really weird one. Somebody in the chat kind of related it to Luis Arias a little bit, how Luis doesn't get valued. I guess kind of similar.
But younger. Is he how old would you?
Luis actually, or he was relatively. I don't know what he is at right now, but he's done all this already. Bo Bichette's in a weird spot, man. He's gonna have to come to terms with probably having some opt-outs, and for that reason, I mean, that's good for the Jays because maybe that allows them to bring him in, and then also others. But that also should theoretically, if he does come down, open the door for some other teams, which also isn't great because hey, could the Dodgers throw Bo a couple million, and because they don't care if he doesn't play defense. They don't give a shit.
Well, they need him to because they got Ohtani.
Oh fuck, that's true.
That's the thing. But I mean, greatest player of all time.
That's true. You know what? They'll hit enough homers anyways that it's fine.
They don't care. Jason here, the $2 dono saying if Bo DH for Jays, good to know his bat alone value. I think if he comes back to the Jays next year, he's got to play defense. I mean, you got Santander and George Springer for 2026. It's a lot of DH opportunities kind of being clogged up right there. But you could argue maybe if they do something to move guys around or a guy gets hurt, maybe that opens up opportunities for Bo to DH and he gets some better infielders in there. Maybe. Very
Also,
possibly.
Arias is 28. I thought he was on the younger side. So
Wow,
not
that's
old, yeah.
crazy. He's the same age as Bo.
Same, yeah,
That's
effectively.
crazy.
Effectively.
Oh.
Kind of wild right there. Also, speaking of the Dodgers, now that we're just kind of on that topic, did you hear the latest on them? You heard what's heating up right now?
What is it?
What would be the most ridiculous thing? What would be like
the Tarek Skubal trade. Yeah, but I heard, again, that I purely think that's media pushing that narrative, because everything coming out of Tigers is like, we're not doing that. The fuck? We actually want to extend him.
Dude,
like,
I would be thoroughly upset at not the Dodgers, not MLB, but the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, don't do
if
that.
they traded away Tarek Skubal to none other than the LA Dodgers.
They can't do
How can you possibly expect anyone to win a World Series ever again?
It's the same conversation as like when people were getting enamored with Vladdy last offseason. It was like, oh, he's got 1 year left.
Right.
The Blue Jays didn't really do that good last year. And then Boston was in, and Mets wanted him, and the Yankees wanted him. I'm getting the exact same vibes with the Tarek Skubal situation. And everything from Blue Jays camp last year with Vlad was like, are you guys like crazy? Like, we're not trading Vladdy. Like, come on. Same thing with Detroit. So I think I gotta believe it's the media trying to push it.
You have to imagine, because it doesn't
It doesn't make any sense.
I mean,
You
it
wanna
makes
sink your franchise?
perfect sense for the Dodgers, but
Yeah.
like the Detroit Tigers, like you guys aren't that far off, man. Like you in a good year, everything goes right. I could see you going to the World Series.
Yeah.
You get hot at the right time. Like
they're not far away. American League, even though the Blue Jays like did pretty well is in that, and Seattle's pretty good. Like, there's still like openings for a team to make a run. Like,
1,000%, dude.
All it takes is one series, and you're in.
1,000%. They were like what? One hit away from beating Seattle. They play us. Who knows what would have happened? Right?
Or Guardians. They got knocked out by the Guardians. Yeah,
I thought
Detroit
it was
got knocked out by the Guardians.
Really?
Yeah, because I remember I predicted that Detroit would move on, and then you said Guardians, or am I tripping here, chat? I'm pretty sure it was the Guardians.
Okay, somebody double check that. I thought it was Detroit versus Seattle.
What? It was.
Yeah. You're tripping.
I think I predicted Guardians, and then they got knocked out. That's what it was.
Okay. Yeah, no, because I remember it was they went to. Don't you remember the extra inning game? It was Seattle. It was Detroit.
And I thought that was with and I thought that was with the Guardians. Wow.
No,
Again, so many things have happened between now and then. I forgot. My bad. Sean.
Also, John Heyman just came out and said Joey Gallo, the pitcher, is drawing interest from several teams right now. He doesn't name any teams, but interesting that Joey Gallo, the pitcher.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever pitched.
Like, is there not like? No, I'm assuming there's not another, but is there not another Joey Gallo? Like
Joey Gallo tried to bounce back and become a pitcher, but like he hasn't pitched.
That's a real thing.
Yeah. There's like videos of him like doing bullpen, and
like there's not another guy named Joey Gallo.
No, I don't believe so.
Well, that's fucking ludicrous.
Yeah.
If that's the case.
Jays are interested. Apparently, Jay Stock says he throws gas. I mean, he was an outfielder. He has an arm for it, so maybe we'll see. But let's quickly, guys, give a shout out to the sponsor of this video. We got to give a shout out to Sports Interaction. This whole live free agency watch along is presented to you by Sports Interaction, Sportsbook and Casino. Every game is your game when you bet with Sports Interaction, Canada's homegrown sportsbook. Right now, like, they don't have a lot of baseball lines on there, but I did see the World Baseball Classic was starting to percolate a little bit. I believe they're going to have World Baseball Classic lines on here, because I looked it up in the search thing, and they have it there.
When is that again?
That's going to be in March. We definitely.
Oh, damn. Okay, we're obviously following along with that. Shout out to the Naylor brothers, by the way, for repping Team Canada. Both Josh and Bo Naylor are going Team Canada, so that's nice.
Yeah, and Jordan Romano's kind of on the fence, like whether or not he's going to go with Italy or Canada. You got to go Canada. Come on, let's do it, dude. And then obviously Freddie Freeman does it every single year. Excuse me, Tyler O'Neill will probably be in there. Otto Lopez might be coming back again. Like, Team Canada's got some players, but it's just when you're stacked up against, like, Japan, the Dominican, like Cuba, Puerto Rico,
United States.
Yeah, like all those guys, like you're kind of screwed. You don't really have a chance.
It is very, very difficult when you have obviously that, that type of competition. But hey, man, it's a tournament and anything can happen. Dude, if Josh Naylor gets as hot as he was against us in ALCS, you never know. It felt like every other at bat that guy was hitting for extra bases.
And we need a pitcher. Like right now, I'm kind of hearing our main pitcher is going to be Mike Soroka, who's like,
okay, well,
we don't have any pitching.
That's a bit of an issue.
And they're trying to get like John Axford back. Yeah.
Bit of an issue right there.
Trying to bring John Axford back from retirement. He's like 45 right now or whatever. Like, that's crazy. But, guys, you go check out Sports Interaction, Sportsbook Casino, because they got you covered during the regular season with pitch-by-pitch and live betting and easy deposits and payouts. Every game is your game when you bet with Sports Interaction. Go to sportsinteraction.com/BJN to open an account. You can click the link in the details to do so. It tells Sports Interaction that you found them through us, so it kind of helps out the boys. Ontario only, 19+. Please play responsibly. Is there any other thing that we wanted to kind of talk about tonight?
I would like to give a massive shout out to the man, the myth, the legend who changed everything for us, and that is David Popkins. Is obviously getting a little bit of recognition right now. Hitting coach David Popkins, Baseball America's 2025 MLB Coach of the Year.
That's a good shout.
Deservingly so. 74-win team. Offense terrible. We can't hit the broadside of a barn. David Popkins comes in. Ernie Clement, elite. Nathan Lucas, elite. Vladdy, best that we've seen him. Arguably. George is incredible. Like we're across the board. Everybody is awesome at baseball. I mean, the one guy who didn't really do it was Santander, and that's because he was injured most of the season. Everyone else exceeding expectations. I know that David Popkins isn't actively in the box swinging the bat. I know it's on the players, but clearly something was said, something was done at those training facilities that changed the way that they think about the game of baseball.
Well, we heard it from a few guys now. I'm like, what does a hitting coach even do? Because people always like to blame coaches for things and this and that. Apparently, hitting coaches are just your therapists. And apparently David Popkins was the best mother effing therapist you could possibly ask for. Like when guys were in the batter's box for BP, there's David Popkins. Like, yeah, that's it, guy. Yeah, good swing. Yeah. Like actively cheering everyone, giving them confidence. And it looked like that because they went to the World Series and their confidence never effing wavered. So shout out to the best baseball therapist in all of baseball, David Popkins. You're a legend, man.
Yes, yeah. They also did make some changes to the overall coaching staff the Toronto Blue Jays did. Now, if I'm being completely honest with you, I'm not familiar with all of these individuals, their individual careers, but we are obviously adding to this. They must feel good about these individuals. Assistant hitting coach, Cody Atkinson. So you got to imagine he's going to be directly under David Popkins. Again, David Popkins likely had a lot to say about this guy, bringing him in, so you have to think that that's something. Eric Duncan, he's the Major League Field Coordinator. What does that guy do?
Major League Field. Oh, I've heard this before. I don't know.
I don't know.
My guess is like they coordinate the practice sessions on the field, maybe. That's kind of my guess, because think about when we went to Buffalo. They're very structured. Like, we had this time, you got this practice, and then we're gonna swap these guys in, and then we're gonna bring the bullpen guys out, and we're gonna coordinate the action on the field. That's my guess.
Field scheduler.
If anyone knows,
you love that.
Yeah, look, they're prepping the boys. That's what coaches are. They're prepping the boys. So
love that. Love that for you, Eric. And then Drew Butera as the Major League.
Just a Major League coach.
Yeah, just a Major League coach. Yeah, not the Major League coach, but one of them. Yeah, joining the squad. You love to see that. So they're making additions in that regards. I think that is ultimately where we are going to leave this live stream, everybody. No major signing this winter meeting, sadly, for the Toronto Blue Jays, but they are laying the groundwork, and I do really, truly believe that someone of substance is on the way. Whether it's Tucker, whether it's Bo. I think what you're seeing right now, though, is that both of their markets likely are probably too high. Tucker might be asking too much. Bo is almost assuredly asking too much. And I think the Toronto Blue Jays are at a spot right now where they feel comfortable waiting, sitting patiently, and then allowing that market to come back to them.
Yeah, so if you guys are worried to see a lot of people in the chat being like, oh man, they got to hurry up and sign. Literally, this was the comment. They got to hurry up and sign someone because people are flying off the board fast. Don't be worried. Those aren't guys the Blue Jays were in. The Blue Jays are comfortable. They're right in the good spot. So maybe, hopefully, we get a signing before Christmas. If not, I feel pretty confident come January.
I think before Christmas, man. I would be kind of surprised if
a big boy. I mean, because I think they're gonna get a relief pitcher in the next week still. Like that was kind of that last week. I feel like that market's going like crazy, and you're right about that. Like we got to get on that market, but the bats are comfortable.
Even Tucker, though, I don't know. Maybe it's just my hope, but I got a feeling he's gonna figure it out before
He'd
Christmas.
be the kind of guy to sign before Christmas. I mean, like Ohtani, Soto, they all did it for Christmas.
I think he wants to know where he's gonna live the next decade of his life.
Yeah,
but
go drink some wine and celebrate during Christmas with your family.
either way, folks, please make sure to hit that like, smash that subscribe button. If you're watching this after the fact, hit the hype button. We'll have a podcast coming out tomorrow. Shouldn't thank you to all of everybody that's tuned in, like the stream, best community on the goddamn internet. And as always, folks,
Go Jays, go!
Cook, Ross.
keep cooking, bro.